When you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad.
In politics, there's a familiar pattern. When calm, truthful voices speak up, those in positions of authority often react the loudest. What you're hearing today isn't just debate or disagreement. It's the sound of discomfort from those caught off guard by the facts. That reaction alone signals that something significant is unfolding. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to like, subscribe, and share. These are the kinds of stories that rarely get the spotlight, but they deserve your attention. Keep your focus because the details you're about to hear matter far more than mainstream outlets are willing to show. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar recently faced a direct challenge from Senator John Kennedy in a moment that immediately shifted the conversation. Their exchange was pointed, precise, and left no room for vague statements or half explanations. Yet, strangely, many major media organizations acted as if it never happened. We're about to bring you the full clip that most networks chose to overlook. Watch closely. The conclusion of this encounter reveals more than expected and helps explain why this pivotal moment is being quietly downplayed. The details offer insight into the broader stakes at play and why the reaction from the powerful speaks volumes on its own.
There are a lot more important issues in front of the United States Congress and the American people than who tweets what to whom. So let me say it one more time. I thought in the president's original tweet, I thought it was a poor choice of words. I think I know what the president meant, and he clarified later and said, look, if you're not happy in America, leave. Just leave. And I agree with that. But his original articulation of that concept, in my opinion, fell short of the mark. Number two, frankly, I don't know why the president felt the need to tweet on this subject at all. You know, when you argue with a fool, you just prove there are two. And I consider Congresswoman Omar, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman Tlaib, Congresswoman Presley, I think is her name. They call themselves the Squad. I consider them to be fools. They hate America. They think America was wicked in its origins, and it's even more wicked today. They ought to be thanking America instead of calling America evil and wicked and racist. But this is America, and they have the right to their opinion. But I don't like to see the president even dignify their point of view. Besides that, I think that the Squad, as they call themselves, they are destroying the Democratic Party. You know, when your opponent is screwing up, don't interrupt him. Let him go. I mean, just looking at this from a political standpoint, if I didn't know better, I would think the members of the Squad were GOP plants. I mean, they think that illegal immigration, socialism, higher taxes, abortion are all moral goods. They think America, Israel, free enterprise are moral bads. That's not what most Americans believe. And that's kind of where I am on the subject. The president has explained his position. He has said, look, here's what I meant. If you're not happy living in America, leave. It's a free country, and I agree with that assessment.
If I am not on this committee for one term, my voice will get louder and stronger, and my leadership will be celebrated around the world as it has been.
Today's resolution, as it relates to Representative Omar, details 6 statements she made as a sitting member of Congress that under the totality of the circumstances disqualify her from serving on the Committee on Foreign Affairs.
Don't tell me this is about consistency. Don't tell me that this is about a condemnation of anti-Semitic remarks when you have a member of the Republican caucus who has talked about Jewish space lasers and an entire amount of tropes and also elevated her to some of the highest committee assignments in this body. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology when my life was threatened.
The representative can say whatever the heck she wants, but we don't have to accept it or embrace it. Individuals who hold such hateful views should rightly be barred from that type of committee.
This institution is better because of her leadership, and the Foreign Affairs Committee benefits from her perspective. So let's talk about what's really happening. Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable.
We're not removing her from other committees. We just do not believe when it comes to foreign affairs, especially the responsibility of that position around the world with the comments that you make. She shouldn't serve there.
This story began much like countless modern news cycles, a non-stop swirl of debates over social media posts, timing, and who felt offended. While headlines got lost in online reactions and outrage, Senator John Kennedy cut through the chatter and refocused attention on something far more urgent. He reminded Congress and viewers everywhere that the nation faces real challenges that outweigh online arguments or viral moments. Kennedy didn't sidestep the issues or soften his language. He spoke plainly and directly, pointing out that endless debates over minor distractions only drain time and energy. In his remarks, he named several prominent progressive lawmakers, including members of the so-called Squad, echoing frustrations that many Americans have quietly carried for years. His words resonated because they captured a reality the public has long sensed but often doesn't see acknowledged in mainstream coverage. What made this exchange so compelling wasn't shock value or a bid for attention. Kennedy wasn't trying to make headlines for entertainment. He was highlighting a political reality voters already understand. Many of these lawmakers openly critique America as flawed or unfair. Yet they navigate the very system they criticize, enjoying its protections and freedoms. This tension, Kennedy pointed out, reveals a contradiction that voters notice and question, that he also addressed an uncomfortable truth for some in the Democratic Party. The influence these voices are having on the party's image and priorities. Issues like border security, the economy, taxation, and foreign policy are no longer background topics. They are moving to the center of debate. Kennedy even made a lighthearted comment, suggesting that some actions seem so misaligned with national interests that one might wonder who truly benefits. The humor was subtle, but the underlying point was serious. Political decisions carry consequences, and citizens are paying close attention that it's important to clarify what happened with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. She was not removed from Congress, silenced, or erased. Her removal from a specific committee was tied to concerns about comments related to anti-Semitism and a perceived reluctance to clearly condemn extremist groups. This was a matter of accountability and qualifications, particularly where foreign policy is concerned, not personal identity. Kennedy closed by reminding the nation of a principle that is sometimes forgotten. America itself is not the enemy. It remains a land of opportunity, freedom, and growth. When leaders start to criticize the very foundation of the country they serve, someone must respond. And on that day, John Kennedy did. If you value facts over narratives, support honest discussion, and want stories that major outlets often overlook, like subscribe and share these and censor headlines. Some stories won't dominate the news cycle, but they still deserve to be heard.